Thinking about moving to Colombia? Well, there are a few things I wish someone had told me before I got here, like why your utility bills depend on what strata you live in, why landlords might not even rent to you if you're a foreigner, and why Rappi is basically your new best friend. So before you pack your bags, let's get real about what expats wish they knew before moving to Colombia. Hey guys, I'm Matt, the Americano, where we talk about expat life, visas, passive income, and what it's really like to live abroad. I've been living here in Colombia for a few years now, and today I'm sharing the insider stuff no one tells you, the surprises, the headaches, and the hacks that will save you time and money. And if you like this kind of content, don't forget to subscribe and grab my free weekly newsletter, The Passport, where I share even more tips and stories about life overseas. All right, let's start with something every expat moving to Colombia needs to understand right away, the strata system. In Colombia, every neighborhood and building is assigned a strata number from 1 to 6. Strata 1 is the lowest income areas and strata 6 is the wealthiest. Now here's the kicker. Your utility bills are tied directly to your strata. Live in a strata 5 or 6 building and you're basically subsidizing the folks in the lower strata. Your water, gas, and electricity will literally cost more even if you use the exact same amount. So a lot of expats move straight into strata 5 or 6 neighborhoods like El Poblado in Medellín or Santa Barbara here in Bogotá, thinking this is where the nice apartments are. This is where I should be. And yes, the apartments are beautiful. The neighborhoods are great. But you'll also get a shock when that electric bill arrives. In strata 3 or 4, you can still get a perfectly safe neighborhood, grocery stores, markets, good internet, but your bills will be much cheaper. It's one of those things you'd never think about until you lived here. So if you're retiring and want to live well while still being frugal, a strata 3 or 4 could be your sweet spot. And speaking of bills and neighborhoods, let's talk about the actual process of renting a place here, because that's where most expats hit their first real wall. Okay, one of the biggest headaches for expats in Colombia is real estate agents. If you're coming from the US or Europe, you might think, cool, I'll just call a realtor. They'll show me apartments and I'll pick one. Yeah, no. In Colombia, most agents don't want to rent to foreigners unless you have a Colombian cosigner with a steady job and income and a Colombia bank account. And since most expats don't have that, you'll get rejected pretty quickly. Now, there are a couple of workarounds. You can rent directly from owners, which is often easier, but you'll need to look at sites like Finca Rise and look for listings that don't have realty logos, and even then, you'll still need to ask if you're dealing with the owner. And sometimes the owner still goes through the same hoops unless you're willing to pay several months or even a year up front. But here's the part nobody tells you. Agents can also tack on all kinds of fees, and the paperwork can be insane. Cedula, bank statements, proof of income, even if you're paying cash. So if you're new here, don't be surprised if the agent route feels like more hassle than it's worth. Now, once you finally get an apartment sorted out, the next big surprise for expats is healthcare. And this one's actually a positive shock. In Colombia, you've got the EPS system. That's the public healthcare option. And get this, it usually costs around $30 a month. That's not per visit, that's monthly. It covers doctor's visits, prescriptions, emergencies, the whole package. Now, it's not perfect. Sometimes you wait longer for appointments, but here's the kicker. If you want faster service, you can just pay out of pocket at private clinics. And even then, it's shockingly affordable compared to the US or Europe. So instead of paying $700 a month for insurance in the States, I pay less than dinner for 2 here. That's a huge lifestyle difference. Most expats wish they knew this earlier because it's one of the best perks of living here. Now, if you're making an income in Colombia, EPS will cost more, as it is also based on how much money you earn. And while healthcare is cheap and surprisingly good, there's another part of daily life here that will drive you absolutely crazy: cell phone companies. Colombia has a few main carriers: Tigo, Claro, Movistar. And here's the thing, they will blow up your phone with marketing texts every single day. Promos, offers, bundles you don't need or want. It's constant. Now, the upside is mobile data here is cheap. You can get a prepaid or postpaid SIM with plenty of gigabytes for not much money. The service is pretty good in the cities too, Personally, I use T-Mobile from the US as my main line because it roams internationally, and then I have a Colombia eSIM for data, which is Tigo, that costs me about $12 per month. That way I've always got coverage and I don't have to deal with customer service too often. Internet in apartments is usually solid, but just like utilities, the price can vary by strata and provider. So yeah, phone and internet are cheap, but the constant text will make you want to throw your phone out the window. Speaking of things that make you want to pull your hair out, let's talk about money, because cash is still king here and that trips up a lot of foreigners. One of the biggest surprises for expats is how much Colombia still runs on cash. Yes, cards are accepted more and more, especially in malls, restaurants, and higher end places, but a ton of smaller shops, taxis, markets, they'll want cash, and many smaller shops that do take cards only offer debit, not credit. And here's the kicker, ATM limit withdrawals. Usually 600,000 to 900,000 pesos per transaction. That's around $150 to $225. So if you need more than that, you'll either pay multiple withdrawal fees or have to find the right bank. Davivienda is the only ATM I've seen that lets you withdraw 2 million pesos in a transaction. And if you have a Fidelity or Charles Schwab bank account in the US, they'll refund the ATM fees worldwide. Now, all of these ATMs, whether they're in Colombia or another country, will offer you a convenient currency conversion. Do not accept this. Simply hit the decline button and you'll save yourself $40 on a $500 withdrawal. That's right, practically every bank in the world will try to scam you 8% on a currency conversion. Check Google using 1 USD to COP or 1 USD to EUR if you're looking for euros to see what the current exchange rate is, and you'll find that if you decline the exchange rate the ATM is offering you, you'll practically get the rate that Google shows. A lot of expats come here assuming they'll tap their credit card everywhere like they do back home. And yes, you can do it a lot, but you'll also need to keep cash on you. And even when you've got your cash ready to go, don't expect things to happen quickly here, because Colombia runs on a very different clock. One of the first things you'll notice living here is the pace of life. Colombia runs on tranquilo, which is great for your stress levels, but not so great for efficiency. Need to open a bank account? It could take hours. Setting up internet service? Expect delays. Government paperwork? Yeah, bring snacks. Here's the cultural part. Mañana doesn't always mean tomorrow. Sometimes it just means not today. So if you're coming from the US or Germany where everything is instant, prepare to slow down and exercise patience. Honestly, learning to go with the flow is half the battle of expat life here. Now the other half of that battle is making sure you stay safe, because Colombia's safety story is very different from what most people expect. When people back home hear Colombia, they think Pablo Escobar, cartels, danger. And while that was totally true decades ago, the reality today is very different. Big cities like Bogotá, Medellín, and Cartagena are safe in the main neighborhoods, but you still need to watch for petty theft, pickpockets, phone snatchings, that sort of thing. And honestly, you're lying to me if that doesn't happen in your big cities in your country. The rule of thumb, don't flash wealth. Keep your phone in your pocket, don't wear flashy jewelry, and be aware of your surroundings. Do that and you'll be fine. Expats who come expecting chaos are shocked at how modern and livable it is. Expats who come expecting zero crime are shocked when their phone gets grabbed. The truth is somewhere in the middle, and that leads to the next surprise, shopping and prices. Because some things are dirt cheap here, while others will give you sticker shock. Groceries, fresh produce, eating out, public transport, incredibly affordable. A bag full of fruits and veggies from a neighborhood market, just a few dollars. Dinner at a local restaurant, less than fast food back home. But imported goods are a whole different story. Electronics, cars, even things like peanut butter, all much more expensive than in the US. And we do have PriceSmart here, which is our version of Costco. Actually, it is owned by Costco. Same products and brands, but imported and now twice the price. So expats quickly learned the rule. Live like a local, save a fortune. Live like an American, spend like an American. And while shopping is easy enough once you figure it out, daily communication is another story, because English doesn't always get you very far here. This is one of the biggest things I wish I knew earlier. You really need Spanish. My Spanish is not very good, but I know a lot of words and I'm able to express myself usually. I'm probably an entry-level B1. In cities like Bogotá and Medellín, as well as the tourist cities of Cartagena and Santa Marta, you'll find more English speakers, but Colombia still doesn't have very many English speakers. In neighborhoods heavy with expats, you might get by with English, but at the bank, in government offices, in most restaurants, it's Spanish or nothing. Even simple stuff like ordering groceries or explaining to a taxi driver can get frustrating without it. Most expats regret not starting Spanish lessons sooner. You don't need to be perfect either. You just need to know some words and some phrases. The sooner you start, the easier your daily life will be. Now, if you're moving here, you're also going to deal with one unavoidable daily reality: traffic. Bogotá has some of the worst traffic in the Americas. A 20-minute drive can take an hour at rush hour. Medellín is better, especially with its clean and efficient metro, but TomTom ranks Barranquilla at number 1 for worst traffic in the world. Cartagena at number 20, Bogotá at number 40, Cali at number 41, and Medellín at 55. Most expats rely on Uber, DD, InDriver, Cabify, or taxis. They're cheap, but again, traffic is traffic. Long distance travel? Forget road trips. Flying is always faster than driving between cities. However, buses are the cheapest. A bus ride from Bogotá to Medellín will set you back around $20, but it'll also take you 7.5 hours versus a $50-ish plane ticket that will take an hour. An Uber ride from my home in Santa Barbara to one of my favorite restaurants in Bogotá is about 8 kilometers, and that has taken me anywhere from 20 minutes to 45 minutes depending on traffic. And speaking of Uber, here's something that catches a lot of expats off guard. Uber is technically illegal in Colombia. The app still works, and honestly, everybody uses it. Expats, locals, even business professionals. But since it's not legal, drivers almost always want you to sit in the front seat, so it looks like they're just giving a ride to a friend. At the airport especially, you'll see police and taxi drivers watching for Ubers. If they spot one, they can give the driver a hard time, sometimes even a fine. So yeah, Uber is technically against the rules, but in practice, it's one of the most common ways to get around the cities here. Just know the little quirks, play along, and you'll be fine. You'll also notice motorcycles everywhere. At stoplights, they'll zigzag between the cars, just missing side view mirrors to get all the way to the front of the line. When the light turns green, it's like a swarm of bees buzzing off ahead of the traffic. It's wild the first time you see it, and picture this. You've got 3 lanes. The left one is clearly marked for a left turn, and the middle and right lane are for straight ahead. But instead of lining up there, cars will also queue up in the middle lane to turn left, which blocks all of the traffic behind them that's trying to go straight. Then when the light turns green, you've got 2 full lanes of cars trying to merge into a single lane on the turn. Total chaos. So if you're picturing quick commutes like back home, adjust those expectations now. And just like traffic rules can be frustrating, so can government rules, especially around visas and paperwork. Colombia offers some very friendly visas: digital nomad, retirement, investment, and they're pretty easy to get. But paperwork is king here. You'll need multiple copies of everything, notarizations, sometimes apostils. And yes, you'll probably have to show up in person more than once. The system works, but patience and persistence are your best friends. Most expats are shocked at how much time it takes compared to what they expect. Case in point, I just renewed my visa for the 3rd time. I used a company in Medellín called Expat Group. I'm not affiliated with them, and they're not paying me for this. It's just who I've used to get my visa and renew it 3 times so far. They've taken most of the headaches away from me. It took 15 days for my visa to get renewed. It took another month for an appointment to get my cédula, which is what Colombia calls their national ID card, and you go to an immigration office, they fingerprint you, photograph you, and then you come back in a few weeks to pick up your cédula ID. In the US, the DMV is typically who would do an ID, and they'd give it to you before you left. Now, while visas can be a hassle, something else that surprises people is the weather, because Colombia's climate doesn't work the way most people think. Colombia doesn't have 4 seasons. Instead, climate is all about altitude. Bogotá is chilly and rainy most of the year. Think sweaters and umbrellas. Medellín is eternal spring, sunny, mild, almost perfect. Cartagena and the coast, hot and humid all year long. Expats who just hear tropical often pack the wrong clothes. The climate varies massively depending on where you land. And speaking of daily life, here's one modern convenience that will completely change how you live here. Forget Uber Eats, forget DoorDash. In Colombia, it's all about Rappi. Groceries, prescriptions, electronics, restaurant meals, even cash delivery. Rappi brings it all to your door, usually within an hour, and if you ordered turbo, it can be in 10 minutes, sometimes less. Most expats end up addicted to it, and I'm one of them, because it's that convenient. It's one of those things you don't realize you'll love until you live here. And delivery fees typically are 25 cents to $1. And finally, let's wrap this up with a cultural difference that can take some getting used to. Colombians are formal, polite, and appearance conscious. You'll notice people dress neatly even for casual outings. Socially, being late is common. Business meetings, expect punctuality. So that's it. 15 things I wish I knew before moving to Colombia. Some of these would have saved me money, some would have saved me headaches, and some, like Rappi, just make life here a whole lot better. If you're thinking about moving here, hopefully this gives you a clearer picture of what daily life is actually like. And if you're already in Colombia, let me know in the comments, what did I miss? What do you wish you knew before moving here? And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more videos on expat life, visas, and passive income abroad. And if you want even more insider tips, stories, and resources, grab my free weekly newsletter. It's called The Passport. It's where I share the kind of stuff that doesn't always make it into the videos. I'll drop the link in the description below. Until next time, I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.